Hi, this is Jeff at Joker Machine, and what we have here is a Indian Scout bobber rear fender dress-up kit. The rear struts on the Indian leave a little bit to be desired as far as appearance, and if you take them off, you run into some issues and some open holes. This kind of takes care of that, at least I hope it does for you. In the kit itself, you're going to get 4 clamps to hold a wiring harness underneath the fender, a small dress-up kit for the extra bolt hole, the necessary hardware, and necessary electrical connectors to make this all happen pretty easy. Okay, as you can see, we've already removed all the stock stuff, and this is where you end up with basically with everything taken off. The good thing about the Indian bobber is you can unplug the wires and kind of remove the whole section. As we start this little project, we've taken everything off the fender, the struts, all this stuff just easily on bolts. There's nothing to it. One thing I did have to do that I wasn't looking forward to is we did cut the stock turn signal wires off right here, right at the back, left a few inches on here. And we're going to use aftermarket turn signals. In this case, we're going to use Joker turn signals, but there's thousands of choices for turn signals. These are the 2 OEM wiring harnesses after you cut them off the turn signal. This one also has a license plate light on it. You can leave all that on, makes it pretty simple. The only thing we're going to do is we're going to attach turn signals to these wires right here, and we're going to use just plain old connectors to do that. Simple process. After everything's removed, you do have 2 holes down here where the seat connects at the back on the plastic tabs. And there's actually quite a bit of room down here where you can run the wires through and go right back to the OEM connectors. So there's really no problem in getting the wiring done on this. Also, the stock wiring harness runs through the stock struts. We put it on the inside of the rear fender, and we provide the clamps that allow you to attach it to it. Okay, we provide 4 clamps for the wiring harness. These will go on the inside of your fender, go around your wiring harness, and they will connect to the stock bolt holes right here, and we provide all the hardware necessary for that to happen. So basically, these clamps will sit and attach to these mounting points right here. They will be upside down like that. The clamp's big enough to give you room to put a nut on the back side of it, which will come in the hardware kit. So we're just going to start, now that it's all torn down, by putting the stock fender in its rightful position. And it just basically sits there for a few minutes. Then we're going to put the wire connectors on the inside of the struts here and run the wires to the front of the fender and through the seat bracket holes. Again, I'm just installing the harness without the turn signals on it. It makes everything easier. Since we're using small connectors, there's really no issue with this. I'm going to take the OEM plugs, insert them, and make that all go together. With the wires ran, we're going to set the fender right back on top of its mounts. So we're going to start bolting up the fender right now. We're going to start with the dress-up bolt that's provided and get that started. This one is the one I will also use a clamp in back of, so it's a little bit long, but that's allowing it to get a nut put on it. You do not want to tighten these up, you just want to put them in. It'll hold the fender in position so you can do the rest of the work. Okay, the struts themselves are probably the easiest part of this whole job. As you can see, the bolt at the back is a little bit longer, and this is where I'm going to attach the wiring harness clamp right here. So these are offset, so there will be an air gap between the stock struts and our struts, and that's kind of cool because it gives you a surface if you wanted to tie down something or other. This would certainly provide the area to do it with. Again, I'm not going to tighten anything. I'm just going to get it all started. And as you can see, these are basically on. It's just a matter of tightening them. And we all know how that goes. Okay, these are the clamps provided. You're going to put 2 of them on. This one we're going to let hang, but we're going to mount this one here, and we're going to go to this bolt right here. Like I say, the bolt's a little bit longer than it needs to be, and that's to hold the clamp. I like to clamp the face upwards like this. It lets me get a wrench on the bottom of it right here, and it totally puts the wires out of the way. So once this is on here, like that, I'm going to put a nut on the back side here, a nylock, and that will hold that wire up. Then we'll proceed to the back here and start working on that. Okay, on the nuts to hold the wiring harness, please use blue Loctite, just a drop. That's all you need. It's a little tricky getting the nut on here, but it's not impossible. You just kind of want to hold it in your hand, get underneath here after you set the clamp. And get it started. See, we have the fender basically all the way back on. Everything is still relatively loose. So what we're going to do now is take our wiring harness, and we're not going to be putting back on the stock turn signals. So we're going to use some joker turn signals. Again, anybody's will work. But we're jokers, so we have turn signals. Okay, the turn signals we're going to use for this application are these right here. They do come with a center bolt, which is really nice, pre-drilled, all set. And that makes it easy since we're hiding the wires underneath the fender. Once these are installed, everything's in the back. We'll be connecting to that harness I just showed you. And from there, this thing will basically be done. This is the bolt that I was showing you that's got the hole through it for the wiring. And it simply goes back through here. Now, normally, this is a threaded bolt, but I found it easier to drill it out, so where this came in a lot easier. You may want to do that, you may not. Either way, it'll still work, except it's hard to index the turn signals to where they're straight. Okay, and continuing with the turn signal install, I'm going to run this wire through that bolt, and I'm going to do it wrong too. First, I'm actually going to put a little spacer right here, which we have for the turn signals, and then run the bolt through it. Moves it out a little bit, keeps it off your fender paint, just a little bit tidier. This would probably be easier if you were coordinated, unlike myself. So this is basically the turn signal install right there. Kind of completed. We are, of course, going to tighten it up here in a few minutes, and we are going to put blue Loctite on it. But right now, that's how it's sitting on there. It's a lot more tidy than the OEM turn signal. It just looks a lot better. And these are super functional lights, extremely bright. This is the rearmost clamp right here, and we've saved that for last. It makes it easier to work on the bike. So we're going to install it on the rear bolt back here. Basically, we got everything hooked up that we were going to hook up on this bike, except we now no longer have a tail light or license plate, and we have a solution for that at the moment. We found this Dean Speed side mount for Indians. It's a pretty nice piece. It doesn't come with a tail light though, so We just made a bracket and mounted the stock tail light off of the Indian bobber onto it, and it works really quite nice. Mounts right here on the side of the shock. We're going to put it on in just a second. It uses the stock wiring harness, so there's no modifications there. Turns out to be a pretty nice little piece when it's all said and done. The install on this Dean Speed side mount's pretty simple. Just remove the shock bolt. Put the shock bolt in the side of this. Get it started. Get the angle you want on it. It moves about quite a bit. After the bolt gets started, make sure you get the bolt started straight too. It'll make your life easier. Get the angle you want on it. That's a little too severe. Gonna go with it right there. Using the stock light, the harness is already here. It's already on the bike. It's just a matter of plugging it in. This kind of concludes our project for today. Just want you to see the tail lights and stuff a little bit. Everything works pretty good. These are extremely bright turn signals. And these are wired to run as running lights as well, so pretty nice. Thanks.